media exploitation. Internet history is a tricky thing to be invested in. It feels like every time a bad with business billionaire buys up another platform, history starts being erased. With the team at Cool Zone Media, we're taking these characters' 16th minute of fame to see what their moment meant to them and what it says about us.
Listen on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app and listen now.
This is Ticket 760, KTKR San Antonio, your home for sports. Guaranteed human from the Window Nation Studios. This is the starting lineup. Here's your host, Carl Schoening.
Welcome into the starting lineup. I'm Carl Schoening, starting at your host and the voice coming through your speakers. Two-man starting lineup this morning with LG starting as the audio technician. It was a historic night in the NBA. The Knicks cruise past the 76ers. The rest of the NBA second round gets started tonight. We have an update on Patrick Mahomes returning from injury, and the Mavericks make a big splash to start their offseason. But it is a bit of a bummer this morning in San Antonio as Game 1 of the Western Conference Semifinals goes to the Minnesota Timberwolves 104-102. LG and I were both in the Frost Bank Center last night. And, you know, LG, it's one of those things where I want to start with this because obviously Spurs Talk is where we live on this show, the starting lineup. But I got to give a major shout out to Anthony Edwards. He comes in unexpected to play in either of these games in San Antonio. There's big praise from him and his medical staff saying that he's able to come back and he provides the spark that he needs to galvanize his team. 25 minutes, 18 points off of the bench, and the Timberwolves don't win that game without him. He really did provide a superstar level performance, not necessarily on the stat sheet, but in the morale department that helped the Timberwolves grind out a win against the Spurs last night. Victor Wembanyama goes for a historic triple-double, 11 blocks, 15 rebounds, 11 points, 15 rebounds, 12 blocks. So those 12 blocks, the most by an NBA player in the playoffs in the modern NBA era since they've tracked blocks. And it's just sort of, it feels like a bit of a shame that it goes to waste. But you got to give the Minnesota Timberwolves their props as they come into San Antonio and steal Game 1 and home court advantage.
They do, and Spurs brought out the Fiesta Court again yesterday, and looked pretty good out there. Fans were excited, but unfortunately got let down at the end there. Despite not winning the game, it was a close game the entire time. Like you said, at 104-102, they had a chance at the end there to win it. Julian Champagnie had an open three-pointer after a pump fake, and it just went short right off the front of the rim. Game over. Spurs lose Game 1. And, you know, you got to put that behind us now. Go to Game 2.
So many places that you could start in this game, and I want to start there at the end. A lot of people are going to make something about the Spurs had 2 timeouts left, but Julian Champagnie getting an open look, the guy who set your franchise record for made three-pointers in a season, got to say that is the best look that you could probably hope for. It is a good look that should the Spurs have called a timeout with, I think by the time they got it across midcourt, because here's the thing in the NBA, once you advance the ball, you can no longer call timeout and then get the ball on a side out in the front court. So as soon as Dylan Harper made that move to start to shift gears into the front court, and he eventually got the ball to Julian Champagnie, the Spurs calling a timeout at that point probably would have been sort of a wasted opportunity. A little bit of wasted time after getting that rebound following a Julius Randle miss that could have made it a 2-possession game. Spurs call their way back into this one, but it felt like the Timberwolves were able to keep the Spurs kind of at arm's length, especially there at the end. They had a 9-point lead in the fourth quarter. They ended up winning the fourth quarter 35-30. Spurs made it really interesting with some clutch stops down the stretch, but that Julian Champagnie 3, I would take that. If you tell me that the Spurs at the end of a game down by 2 have a chance with a wide open look on Julian Champagnie, it was a flyby. Defender goes flying by. He sidesteps right into a shot that I know he can make. probably at least 5 times out of 10 in the run of action, 9 times out of 10 if we're talking about shooting in practice drills. It's just how it goes sometimes. This is the NBA playoffs, and I think Spurs fans, especially as I was trying to leave the parking lot last night, you could feel the hurt that everybody had coming out of the arena last night, because that felt like a game the Spurs could have won. Obviously, the game-winning shot was in the air as the final buzzer sounds, doesn't fall. And I'm not going to fault the Spurs for not calling a timeout there. There's a few things that I think you can pick about this game. I'm not going to really harp on officiating. The one thing that I will say about the officiating, and looking back at it, I thought this in live time, and I think about this in, looking back at the tape to confirm it. Steph Castle fouls out of this game, only plays 28 minutes. And of the 6 fouls that he was called for, at least 3 of them feel like he was the party that was fouled. One of them, the Spurs used their challenge on, because it looked like Jaden McDaniels pushes through Steph Castle. On the replay, the challenge review, they determined that Steph Castle pulls down McDaniels. So it's one of those 50-50 things that if the refs decide that they're going to call that on McDaniels instead of Castle, seemed almost to me that the officials were determined to not give Steph Castle the benefit of the doubt. And it seemed like a couple times that Julius Randle more or less bullied him, and they call the foul on Castle, who's trying to match the physicality in a way. And that's the only real bummer I have about the officiating. Otherwise, it was a hard-nosed playoff game. They let them play all night long, very physical, and it's almost what you want to see. The officials not really getting too involved. There's going to be some gripes in officiating over a 48-minute game, but for the most part, the Spurs didn't lose that game because of officiating. I guess if you're really of the thought process, kind of like I am, that Steph Castle is so important that him fouling out and not being able to play down the stretch was a determining factor, I'll give you that. But Dylan Harper continues to be just stellar. The rookie in 29 minutes had 18 points, went 7 of 13 from the field, had 4 assists, no turnovers, and he had a big steal and score at the end of the game. So while I do say that about Steph Castle, Dylan Harper really did step in and play just fine in Castle's absence. We have some sound, and let's start with the Mitch Johnson sound, LG, because let's hear how the Spurs handled the post-game press conferences. I really felt like the Spurs knew that this game sort of got away from them. They had a chance to win it, and Mitch Johnson, you're not going to be able to see it, was pretty confident in his body language afterwards. Let's hear what he had to say, though.
They did what they do. They're physical. They guard the basketball really well, especially direct actions where it's, kind of mano-a-mano situations. They got guys that are capable of doing it, and they take a lot of pride in it. So they did a good job there. And I think in the first half, I thought we were a little indecisive. Felt like there were times we got a little in between, whether that was to shoot or not, to drive or not, to pass or not, just in general. We were indecisive, and that hurt us in the first half. We picked up the pace a little bit there in the second half, and we missed some good shots. But yeah, I think the process was probably better than some of the box score. Looked at some of that. I thought when he screened and rolled, we got some good looks, and have to continue to do that more.
Coach, can you talk through the last minute and how Julian Champagnie fought for those offensive boards and what made you trust him to take that last-second shot?
Yeah, he just did a good job, obviously, with the sense of urgency. We were down, excuse me, and so we were trying to play quick because it was a math problem at some point in terms of possessions and time left and what the score was. And he had some great multiple efforts there to keep us in the game. We got some good looks, missed them. And, offense rebounds has been an emphasis for us all year, but especially in those situations, you got to crash. And then on the last play, we got a rebound, and it felt like they weren't organized, and there was enough time for us to push the ball and get a look, and we didn't push it right away. So it got to be that death knock time where you got to call a timeout or not. I thought Dylan did a good job pushing the ball, kicked it ahead of Julian. Julian had a flyby, got a three-pointer in rhythm. I had no problem with the shot. That was a great shot. I hope he shoots it every time. We were 10 for 36 from three. Thought we got some good looks. Thought we were indecisive in the first half. Thought there's a lot of execution things we can clean up. I thought Minnesota did a great job, and so they participated in all those things I just said. And we had 7 guys in double figures still with the shooting from the three like that, which some of our guys are more dependent at times of the three. Victor and De'Aaron were 0 for 12. I got to watch them back, but at the moment I felt like they were all rhythm good shots, and I trust that they'll make shots.
That was Mitch Johnson in his post-game thoughts as the Timberwolves defeated the Spurs 104-102 last night. And he said something that maybe that's one of the other places I should have started, as the Spurs go 10 of 36 from behind the three-point line. Victor Wembanyama and De'Aaron Fox uncharacteristically combined for 0 for 12. Wemby really tried to be a floor spacer and pull away Rudy Gobert for the most part, but I think if that was the one criticism I have of Wemby's game, it's that he even said it afterwards, that he didn't quite use the energy appropriately. But he really did turn it on for that 11th point. If you look back and see the final field goal that Wemby had, he was not going to be denied. It was a monster slam, and that's the sort of effort that we want to see out of Victor Wembanyama. I am not going to knock Wemby for taking 8 threes, but I obviously have to report the facts, whether Wemby goes 0 for 8, 4 for 8, 8 for 8 from behind the three-point line. This particular case, one of those made threes could have been the difference in the ball game. 2 of those made threes, the Spurs might win fairly easily. 4 of those made threes, and the Spurs definitely have a 1-0 lead in this series. Instead, the Spurs as a team just cold from behind the three-point line. And then the other thing that was interesting was, with about 6 minutes to play in the third quarter, the Timberwolves were 0 for 3 as a team from the free throw line, and they proceed to shoot 21 free throws as a team. So the whistle really did seem to be a little bit in favor of the Timberwolves in this physical matchup in terms of getting to the free throw line. They didn't convert. They only made 12 of their 21 total free throws, but the Timberwolves do make 7 of their 8 free throws in the fourth quarter. Spurs only shoot 14 of 18 from the free throw line in that game. A lot of things are even in this series, this first game, but I would have to say that the Timberwolves shooting a better percentage from 3. They shoot 38% on 10 made threes and 26 attempts. Helped them out. Julius Randle was big. He took advantage of his mismatches when he got them. He ended up with 21 points. Terrence Shannon Jr. continues to be stellar in his starts with 16 points. And Jaden McDaniels, asked to do more offensively, finished with 16 points. Also played some really good defense. And that's sort of how this game goes, LG, as the Spurs, man, bummer of a loss, but the Spurs lost one of the first 2 against the Timberwolves. They ended up winning that series in 5. This now feels like a 5 or 6 game series. I still believe in the Spurs. I feel like it was an off night. Those 3-point shooting numbers, the real reason I feel like the Spurs are going to be able to bounce back tomorrow night in game 2 against the Timberwolves. The real bummer on top of it all, that was the last Fiesta night for the Spurs. They're not going to be able to wear their City Edition uniforms or have those goated color combinations in the shirts, as it's not a blackout, it's a Fiesta out, right? So I have to deal with that not being a factor going forward in the NBA playoffs. We got a lot more to dive into that, more post-game press sound to talk about. But when we come back here on the starting lineup, after we touch on a little bit more Spurs, we're going to talk about a move that I-35 North rivals the Dallas Mavericks made. That was interesting. And the Knicks also cruise past the 76ers. That and a lot more on the starting lineup on Ticket 760 and on YouTube. Black Swan Yoga is a donation-based yoga studio with 3 locations in San Antonio. There's no pressure for a membership of any kind. Just drop in when you can, pay what you can, come as you are, and give yoga a shot. Classes start at 6 a.m. and go until 8:30 p.m. on weekdays, with varieties such as hot and room temperature classes, beginner, chill, power, and all-level flow classes. I'm almost there every day, and it's a great way to relax or get a good workout in. Give yoga a shot at Black Swan Yoga San Antonio.
Antonio. Creating content to promote your brand is a 24/7 hustle these days. If you're looking for someone to professionally provide videos, photos, and more, reach out for a free consultation. Hi, I'm Carl Schoening, and I'm more than just the host of the Starting Lineup. I'm an expert in production work. I offer professional live streaming, podcast recording, photos, videos, social media strategy, and more. To learn more, shoot me an email at carlschoeningmedia@gmail.com or check out my work and shoot me a DM on Instagram at OnAirCarl. That's Carl with a K. Let's level up your content together.
It's time to warm up that scoreboard and get ready to bring home the win with Specs. Specs has you covered with lower prices on all your favorite fan fuel. From craft beer, rare spirits, and world-class wine to chips, dips, and gourmet finer foods. And with same-day delivery when you order online or through the app, Specs is your MVP for the biggest score of the game. At Specs, the fun starts here.
Here's to you, cheers to savings.
On Plus Nicotine Pouches present Comfort Chronicles. A 10 o'clock tea time. How comfortable. You show up in stretchy shorts, a breathable tee, and maybe no socks.
Let the dogs breathe.
While others sweat in pleated khakis, you're in your comfort zone bombing drives. And in your pocket, On Plus Nicotine Pouches. The softest pouch on the planet. Buy a can at onnicotine.com. Products for tobacco consumers 21 years of age or older. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Trust, price, and ease of transaction. That is GiveMeTheVin.com. We love to buy cars, and you're going to love GiveMeTheVin.com.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
Hi there, I'm John O'Hurley. You know, our pets are beloved family members. But sadly, though, there are so many dogs that get euthanized every day due to the lack of funding. To give them a chance at adoption, I invite you to support Puppy Food Bank. Thanks to generous donors like you, all of the food sent to pet shelters from Puppy Food Bank never comes with a bill. So please go to puppyfoodbank.org and make a generous, caring $15 donation every month. Your donation will absolutely save pet lives.
These days, it's getting harder and harder to trust what you're seeing. Who made it? Is it real? But with iHeart, everything you hear is guaranteed human. That's why 78% of listeners trust their favorite radio hosts' product recommendations. And if you own or manage a business here or need to drive sales, that trust goes a long way in creating your future customers. Make iHeartMedia a part of your 2026 plan today. Call 844-844-iHeart. Again, that's 844-844-iHeart.
What does it mean to work with one of the largest personal injury law firms in Texas? At Thomas J. Henry, it means we can take cases all the way to trial when others would have accepted a low settlement offer. It means Thomas J. Henry can put our team of legal minds, investigators, and medical experts to work for you. It means you get personal attention and access to our team when you need us. Visit thomasjhenrylaw.com. Thomas J. Henry, the name you know, the firm you trust. Principal Office, San Antonio.
Hey, San Antonio sports fans, imagine your business scoring big with thousands of passionate listeners who are already fired up about local sports. Right now, you're one of thousands tuned in to Ticket 760. This is the raw power of live radio, immediate, loyal, and impossible to scroll past. The Starting Lineup is looking for sponsors who want direct access to this engaged audience. Sponsors also get professional social media production included. Shoot us an email at thestartinglineupshow@gmail.com. Team up with the Starting Lineup on Ticket 760.
A win is a win. A win is a win. I don't care what y'all say. Yep, that's me, Clifford Taylor IV. And on my new podcast, The Clifford Show, I'm bringing you raw, unfiltered conversations with your favorite athletes, creators, and media personalities. Each week, we'll talk about sports, life, mental health, purpose, and even music. The Clifford Show is not just a conversation, it's a celebration.
Search The Clifford Show on iHeartRadio, America's #1 podcast network, and the Webby Podcast Company of the Year.
He didn't make the team, but he's in our starting lineup. Back to Carl Schoening.
Starting lineup on Ticket 760. I'm Carl Schoening, your host, and always talking sports, especially the NBA. LG running the show. You can reach out to us on our social media. I'm on X/Twitter, depending on what you want to call it, at OnAirCarl. That is Carl with a K. So at OnAir, KARL. He is at DJLG210. LJ, how else can people get involved, support the show, and get into the conversation?
You can also follow the show on X, the artist formerly known as Twitter, at TSL760. We are on all the other social medias under the handle at Starting Lineup Live. Hit up the YouTube channel especially. We're broadcasting live right now. Our first AM morning show on YouTube is live right now. You can jump in the chat on YouTube at Starting Lineup Live. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit that notification bell.
Yeah, because we're going to go live more than just at 6 a.m. There's going to be plenty of stuff that'll be sent through our YouTube. And, I want to also give a shout out to Black Swan Yoga San Antonio, one of our sponsors. I will probably be there at 9 o'clock for at the Vineyard location just to try and get a good workout in after starting the day off with this show.
Get the blood pumping a little bit, right?
And I didn't realize this, LJ. Maybe this is just because I'm so dissociated from the world of having children and such. That's so far away from me. But apparently it's Teacher Appreciation Week and maybe medical staff appreciation week. So nurses and teachers get to practice yoga for free this week at all the Black Swan yoga locations. Just bring your badge and you get to be there. So
shout out to all the nurses and teachers. As a former teacher, it's a tough job.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I am so far away from that world. I don't know any teachers. I guess I probably know a few people in the medical field, but they deserve opportunities like that to relax, get a workout in, stuff like that. So that's obviously something to big thank you to. We're probably in that market of people who are driving into school right now. So hope
That's
you guys.
true.
Yeah.
Also, happy Cinco de Mayo to all you
right.
Cinco de Mayo celebrators out there. See, I'm wearing the proper attire right here.
Oh, yeah.
The Los Spurs shirt.
Nice. Yeah. Well, Cinco de Mayo is interesting because it's almost become an excuse to drink. I don't think anybody really pays attention to the historical aspect of it. Some people probably misidentify it as Mexico Independence Day. That would be September 16th.
Okay. You know more history than I do.
Cinco de Mayo was when the independent state of Mexico, after they had already gotten their independence from Spain, decided that they were going to, France decided that they were going to invade Mexico, and Mexico fought off France. I believe that's right. On Cinco de Mayo, I should have looked this up before mentioning it, but you reminded me. But it's one of those things I know off the top of my head. And yeah, there's a celebration involved, but here in the United States, I don't think anybody really knows that history. I think they just think it's a good time to get tequila, go out, good excuse to go out on a Tuesday night. So, hey, if you're doing something, let us know. We'd love to, figure out something else to do tonight. We have an early morning once again tomorrow, but that doesn't mean that we can't slide in a little bit more tired because we're taking part of the fun that is Cinco de Mayo in San Antonio. Spurs dropped the first game of the series to the Minnesota Timberwolves 104-102 last night. We're going to talk about that a little bit more, but I do want to shift gears to just some news and notes around the rest of the league, including the most interesting thing yesterday that didn't happen on the basketball court in the NBA. The Dallas Mavericks agreed to hire Masai Ujiri as their team president and alternate governor, landing a lead basketball executive role with proven championship experience after a 6-month process the Mavericks announced yesterday. I'm sure all of you Spurs fans are well about the Nico Harrison firing. That was such a crazy story to look at. Luka Doncic goes to the Lakers. The saving grace in all of that is Cooper Flagg lands in the lap of the Mavericks, and Anthony Davis just had so much bad juju around him in Dallas as the driving factor of the Fire Nico chants that they chanted for about 16 months there in Dallas, that Anthony Edwards gets shipped to Washington. They don't even really play him, or they didn't have the intention of playing him, it felt like. And then they just close that chapter. They move on. And Masai Ujiri is a good pickup. He did a lot with the Toronto Raptors. He was the guy who pulled the trigger on the Kawhi Leonard deal that sent DeMar DeRozan to San Antonio. He also won Executive of the Year in 2013 with the Denver Nuggets. So he's accustomed to putting together good teams. He has a really good starting foundation in Derek Lively II and Cooper Flagg. See what he decides to do with Dallas. That'll be an interesting pickup for Dallas as they want to turn that around as soon as possible. They'll get Kyrie Irving back next year. He's an interesting chip to play with. I don't think he has much trade value necessarily, but I think that he could be a floor raiser next season. Also, the Orlando Magic fire Jamal Mosley. I'm not going to ever call for somebody's job. I don't particularly think that I have it within me to say that we need to fire somebody, but I did say yesterday when we were talking about where do the Magic go from here, and the Magic basically said yesterday they're not going to dismantle the team, and I sort of agreed with that. They are a very talented team in Orlando, but if you have a very talented team that's underachieving, then the first thing that you do is probably replace the coach. Be interesting to see what they do there. And somebody to keep an eye out on, I don't think he would make the jump across the country. Steve Kerr has yet to have any solid, at least in the public eye, look at what his future looks like. So if you're the Magic and you're trying to upgrade your coach, then Steve Kerr would be a great option. On that point, JB Bickerstaff winning that first round series against the Orlando Magic gets a contract extension with the Detroit Pistons. And one other note in the NBA, this happened on the hardwood. The New York Knicks come away with a historic evening as they crushed the 76ers by 39 points in their game one at Madison Square Garden. Nothing is ever easy for the Philadelphia 76ers. They came back from down 3-1 against the Boston Celtics, and they're probably going to have to come back from down at least 1-0 in this series against the Knicks. But the Knicks, with the win last night, became the first team in NBA history to win 3 straight playoff games by 25 or more points, outscoring opponents by 119 points over a 3-game span, the largest point differential of any 3-game stretch in playoff history. Their 39-point victory makes it the largest home playoff win in Knicks franchise history. So they get their series started off on the right foot. And that wasn't a game that I was actually able to watch because it overlapped with the Spurs. That's another storyline, LG, of how the NBA and NBC handled their broadcasts last night.
I'm going to blame NBC on the Spurs loss.
You want to blame NBC on the Spurs
I'll blame
loss?
NBC because they didn't put it on regular television.
It wasn't on regular NBC because, I'm on the radio broadcast with Dan Weiss on AM 1200 WOAI. So those sort of things, they get lost for me because I'm not mentally thinking I'm going to look into it. I did watch some of the game on delay while at the Frost Bank Center just to be able to see some plays on the Peacock app, but I don't have cable television, so I don't know.
Yeah, well, it wasn't on regular cable either. It wasn't. It was on YouTube TV, which is the only streaming provider that has the NBC Sports Network.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
That's what it was on, and it was on Peacock. So if you didn't have either of those two, or you didn't go to an establishment that was running the game, then you didn't get to see it.
I solely have Peacock for the NBA. It is an addiction, and I am mad that I probably spent somewhere around, I don't count Amazon, but if you do count Amazon, maybe around $300 this year to watch the NBA throughout the course of the season.
That's too much, man.
It really is, and I'm obviously going to do it legally because I believe in making sure that I pay for a product I enjoy like that. But you do see the thing that happens with, I don't condone it at all, but a lot of people try to find ways around the legality to watch streams. I won't get into that too much, but the NBA has this issue that emerged this year where they need to make it easier for fans to watch the games. All these new television partners are great. It's great that the NBA is getting this influx of cash from these partners, but it is sort of at the cost of the patience of the fans. And that was a very disappointing outcome last night. A lot of people that I talked to were saying that they were really mad that they couldn't watch the game because they don't have Peacock.
And there was a lot of confusion too, because when you look at the schedule, it says Peacock/NBC on some of the websites, and people are like, "Oh, it's going to be on the local NBC channel here But even Don Harris, the sports anchor at the local NBC channel here, had to come out on social media and say, hey, it's out of my hands. It will not be on the local affiliate. It's a contract decision, and we have no way of changing that. So too bad, so sad.
What aired on NBC instead of the NBA playoffs last night?
The Knicks. No, the Knicks game.
Okay,
yeah, they played playoff games, but they played something that's out of market for this local market here.
Yeah, I guarantee you that the NBC affiliate here in San Antonio obviously wanted the Spurs game on. That is a bummer for local San Antonio people. I wonder what happened in Minnesota as well.
Not sure, but anyways, the Knicks did get a blowout win there, and you were mentioning some records earlier. That was the third highest field goal percentage for any team in playoff history, the Knicks last night.
Yeah, the New York Knicks cruise their way to a 39-point win as they shoot 63% from the field, 51% from three. And not a terrible game for Philadelphia, but as soon as the second quarter really started to create some separation, the Knicks were grooving and they were not going to be stopped. And it reminds me a little bit of March Madness in a way that you want to be playing your best basketball in the postseason. The Knicks definitely doing that as Jalen Brunson, their MVP caliber guard, dropped 35 points in 31 minutes and propelled them to the victory, 137-98 over Philadelphia. And the Sixers, they already have established that you need to be a local Philadelphia resident to buy tickets for their games in Philadelphia. It's easy to take that train down from New York. There's probably a lot of Knicks fans that would be happy to say, hey, we'll ride the train for an hour and a half to cheer on our Knicks. The 76ers putting that as nipping that in the bud, as I should say, as the 76ers want to make sure that something that Joel Embiid said going into this series, he did not want Knicks fans to invade the arena in Philadelphia. Xfinity Mobile Arena is what I believe it's called this season. So, yeah, that'll be something to keep an eye on as the 76ers, they can't dig themselves into too many holes. The Knicks are probably better than the Celtics, or at least better equipped to defeat the 76ers. But, yeah, as you pointed out, if the Knicks are going to have a historic shooting night like that, 63% from the field, they are not going to lose most likely. 51% from three, just absurd.
76ers waved the white flag late in the third quarter, pulling a bunch of the starters early. I mean, is that too early to pull your starters late in the third quarter?
Not when you know it isn't your night. Sometimes you do just need to say, hey, we just fought a 7-game series against the Celtics. And yeah, I see what you mean. In fact, I was watching the highlights last night, and former Spur Dom Barlow actually made a good chunk of the highlights when the game was out of reach. He had 13 minutes, 7 points, and 3 of 3 shooting from the field. So good for Dom Barlow. Let me see here. Did our guy Jeremy Sohan get into the game? He did not play. Coach's decision. He had 10 points in like 3 minutes in one of the games that the Knicks won, and he got an opportunity to sneak in and somehow up his playoff point per game stats. So interesting thing about former Spurs, I like to keep an eye on them, cheer them on wherever they might be. Starting lineup continues here on Ticket 760. When we come back, we will touch on the Spurs a little bit more. We have a couple notes around the NFL I want to get to as Patrick Mahomes. There's an update on him as he recovers from his ACL, trying to continue his legacy. And we do hear from Spurs franchise big man Victor Wembanyama on the other side of this break. This is starting lineup on Ticket 760.
On May 5th, 2006, the Spurs topped the Sacramento Kings 105-83 in Game 6 of their best-of-7 first-round matchup at Arco Arena to win the series 4-2. Tony Parker scored a playoff career-high 31 points, while Tim Duncan added 15 points and 6 rebounds, to lead 4 of the 5 starters in double figures. Bruce Bowen hit 4 of 5 threes to chip in with 16 points as the top-seeded Spurs advanced to the second round for the 6th consecutive season. That's today's Spurs Flashback. I'm Dan Weiss.
This summer, feel the game. Find your rhythm. Spurs Sports Academy. Boys and girls, ages 6 to 18, all skill levels, all heart, in San Antonio and Austin. Players are built here. Gain confidence every time the ball leaves your hand. With Spurs gear on your back, become more than you were yesterday, on and off the court. Register now. Spurs.com/camps.
If you're not digging the content you created on your phone, maybe it's time to upgrade to a content specialist who can make your video sharp and your audio clear. Hi, I'm Carl Schoening, and I'm more than just the host of The Starting Lineup. I'm an expert in production work. I offer social media content creation to help your brand grow online using professional photo, video, and audio equipment. To learn more, shoot me an email at carlschoeningmedia@gmail.com or check out my work and shoot me a DM on Instagram at OnAirCarl. That's Carl with a K. Let's level up your content together. Right now, you're one of thousands tuned into this station. Locked in, fired up, and ready to talk Spurs, Cowboys, and everything in between. That's the unbeatable power of live radio. It reaches you instantly, and you can't scroll past it. Plus, we're streaming and growing on social media. The Starting Lineup is looking for sponsors who want direct access to this passionate audience. And when you join us, you get professional social media production included. Content created for your business. Shoot us an email right now at thestartinglineupshow@gmail.com. Team up with the Starting Lineup on Ticket 760.
Ready to upgrade to the perfect sleep setup? Let Mattress Firm sleep experts guide you to the perfect bed at the Memorial Day sale. Top brands, ideal comfort. Score unbeatable deals on both. They make sleep easy.
In this edition of the Marketers Report, Heather Sparks, head of content at Zenith, discusses the power of radio hosts.
I actually think DJs were the original influencers. You invited them into your home, you invited them into your ear, you built a relationship with them, you understood and trusted the things that were interesting to them.
As the #1 audio company, iHeartMedia connects marketers to the audiences, live conversations, and trusted influencers you need to grow. If you're a marketer, go to iHeartAdvertising.com.
That red talkback mic on the free iHeart app, it's more powerful than it looks. One tap can get you in the conversation.
You guys, are you serious?
Enter to win something amazing.
That $1,000.
Or just a request.
What up?
Try it now. Just open the free iHeart Radio app.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to Markdowns for Miles at AutoZone.
Got any markdowns on brakes?
We mark Duralast brake pads down to free.
Free Duralast brake pads?
When you buy 2 rotors.
Can I get Duralast Gold pads for free?
With 2 Duralast Gold rotors, and there's a lifetime warranty on brake pads.
That's a huge markdown for like so many miles.
Save on brakes and more during Markdowns for Miles at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
It's time to spring into deals at Lowe's. Freshen up your yard with Stay Green Premium 2 cubic foot mulch. 5 bags for $10. Then get what you need to keep clothes, food, and dishes fresh with up to 35% off select major appliances. Plus, save an additional $100 on select laundry pairs. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 5/6. Mulch offer excludes Alaska and Hawaii. While supplies last. Selection varies by location. See Lowe's.com for more details.
People ask me why we offer free estimates. I'm George Salinas with Absolute Power, and the answer is simple. Because you deserve a clear answer before you spend your money. A free estimate lets us look at your job, explain your options, and give you honest pricing with no pressure. Call today at 210-904-1521 or visit absolute-pwr.com to schedule your free estimate. Absolute Power Electrical Contractors, at your service.
If you're looking for a new way to burn calories, get some simple movement in, or just relax, I have to tell you about Black Swan Yoga San Antonio. There are 3 Black Swan Yoga studios in San Antonio at Downtown, the Vineyard, and newly opened in Alamo Ranch. Try their fire and ice for a quick workout followed by a relaxing stretch, or get a combination of cardio and strength training in their new Swan Sculpt classes. Black Swan Yoga is a donation-based studio, so no need to sign a membership or pay an expensive drop-in fee. Just swing by and give yoga a try.
Your home for Spurs talk. This is the Starting Lineup with Carl Schoening.
It is indeed the Starting Lineup on Ticket 760. I'm your host, Carl Schoening. LG, keeping an eye on everybody interacting with the show. You can watch us on YouTube. You can listen to us on the iHeart app by listening to Ticket 760. And, of course, good old-fashioned terrestrial radio broadcasting all over South and Central Texas. LG, we have some interaction, huh?
Yes, we do. Chris Silva's in here, and he says that we are being robbed without a gun by all the sports leagues, referring to the disfranchisedness of the streaming services where we have to search for NBA games. He also says, Why didn't the Spurs employ Hack-a-Go-Bear? He shoots 50% free throws. You got a good point there. And then we also got a Buy Me a Coffee. You can tip this show, actually, if you go to buymeacoffee.com/thestartinglineup. And Chris is in here. He bought one coffee. Says, bring some good juju, man, because Birds sucked last night. Did the UTSA play last night? Which Birds is he talking about?
You know, I don't know which Birds he's talking about because the Roadrunners baseball team, if I'm not mistaken, they have a rivalry game tonight against Texas State at the Bird Bath. That should be a fun one. Mike Capps will be on the call for ESPN Plus. I might have to make my way out there. I have not been to a new game. They have a new video board.
I heard about that.
Yeah.
I saw them post some videos of them installing that. And I was just saying maybe like 2 weeks ago that they need to make that ballpark a minor league type of feel, and they can't do it without a video board. And what do you know? They put one in.
Finally, there's a lot of upgrades that are going to happen, and I guess actually, one second, now that I look it up, it looks like the Roadrunners are. I knew it was a team with Texas in their name. They're actually going to Austin to take on 4th-ranked Texas Longhorns tonight. So they are not going to be. I apologize. They're going to be at UFCU Dish-Frog Field in Austin. That'll be a 6:30 first pitch, and that'll be on the SEC network. So I believe they host Birmingham, UAB this weekend. At the Bird Bath. So I will definitely have to follow a lot more of UTSA. Definitely got to get some UTSA talk in. Going back to our comments, we appreciate everybody interacting with the show. The NBA thought that the Hack-a-Shack rule was a slow down, detrimental to the game.
They didn't like it.
So there is now an away from the play foul that prevents the Hack-a-Shack. So the only way to do that, like for a Hack-a-Go-Bear, if you will, is, rougher Rudy, whatever you want to call it, to foul Rudy Gobert when he has the ball, and whether they're in the penalty, or the Spurs are in the penalty, that is, or Gobert's in the act of shooting. That's the only way to force Gobert to the free throw line in 2026, which there was an interesting thing. You talk about the officiating, or we talked about it in the first segment, that is, there was a made three-pointer by the Timberwolves where they called a moving screen foul, or they called a foul on the screen that Gobert set on the Spurs. So they waved off the three and sent Rudy Gobert to the free throw line. It ended up being a break for the Spurs, but the Spurs lose 104-102. I do want to talk about that before we head into the next segment. You have some sound from Victor Wembanyama. Let's hear what Wemby had to say post-game in the loss, 2-point loss to the Timberwolves in Game 1.
I think there was some good and some bad. And I think the bad was, as I said, not going to what we know. But I mean, it's a lot on me because obviously my game wasn't feeling good tonight, and that's where the team is going to look for me, And if I had been better, if the offensive leaders of our team had been better, it would have been different. I would like to look at the game again to see what really was the main problem, because it's easy to know what see the symptoms of it, how it shows up on the stat sheets, on the scoreboard. Of course, obviously, we have to be better, and as I said, it shows up on the stat sheet, but we need to figure out before 48 hours what we can do better, and I got no doubt that we will. I mean, it's I trust us.
There's an interesting duality to the Spurs that Wemby said it there at the very final phrase, I trust us. And I understand why Wemby trusts us as the Spurs in general.
He trusts the system.
He trusts the system. And if you go back to Game 5 against the Portland Trailblazers, Wemby only put up 7 field goal attempts. He put up the 7th most on the team. Out of the entire starting lineup, he put up the fewest field goal attempts in that Game 5 victory against the Blazers. And it worked out for the Spurs. And it's something that could continue to work out for the Spurs, where Wemby gets to sort of have his gravity effect to the offense, and he gets to really focus in on defense, where he is obviously generational. He's still a big part of the Spurs offense. And I will be curious to see what adjustments he comes out with. He still did put up 17 shots, but he goes 0 for 8 from 3. I'm not necessarily going to knock him for becoming a three-point shooter. Part of that was the plan to pull Rudy Gobert away from the rim. So if Wemby's not shooting those threes, then maybe Gobert sags off of him a little bit and Rudy Gobert gets to be the shot-blocking presence that he is. Gobert did not play as much as I feel like his 30 minutes reflected last night. He did get in 30 minutes, but there were several times where I was wondering why he didn't play, and Wemby played 10 more minutes. Wemby did finally get that elusive 40-minute game, I should say, but he only scores 11 points. I would like the Spurs to get Wemby a bit more involved in the offense inside the three-point line, but that's also the beauty of the Spurs is, as I say, going back to that Portland game, going back to several games throughout the course of the season, so many other Spurs can do it for San Antonio. But this is where the NBA playoffs, there's a big difference between winning one game and winning the series. So if the Spurs make the necessary adjustments, tie this thing up at a game apiece heading into Minnesota, I'm still confident the Spurs can win this in 5 or 6 games. But there is a little bit of pressure now. Anthony Edwards comes back. He galvanizes the troops. He finishes with 18 points in 25 minutes. And the majority of those points came in the fourth quarter. I don't believe he scored in the third quarter. And he had a solid enough performance in the first half, but he didn't score double figures in the first half. So Anthony Edwards scores most of his points in the fourth quarter. And I think the Spurs probably come out a little bit different of a game plan. I'll be curious to see what that is. We will definitely be breaking that down on the starting lineup. And we obviously are going to be talking more Spurs in hour number 2. I have a few thoughts on maybe what the Spurs will do to get them a little bit more involved in the offense, the way that Victor Wembanyama can change the game. But very rarely do I have a criticism for Wemby, and I feel like sometimes he is not the focal point that he should be, being the best player in the world on the offensive end of the ball. Sometimes that goes to the Spurs' favor. Last night, it did not quite work out well for San Antonio. Wemby only shoots 5 of 17 from the field, 0 of 8 from 3, only 11 points for a guy who averages over 24 points per game in the regular season, and dropped, I believe, 39 points against the Minnesota Timberwolves last time they played in San Antonio on January 17th. More Spurs talk on hour number 2 of the starting lineup. When we come back, we're going to talk about some of the other news and notes around the world of sports, including an update on Patrick Mahomes. Not necessarily sure I should say you should draft him in your fantasy football draft, but there are positive signs. I want to talk about one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time in Patrick Mahomes on the other side of the break, and a few more things happening in the world of sports and the NBA playoffs. Round 2. A couple series start tonight. Talk about the Lakers and Thunder, as well as the other series that'll be going on in the NBA. The Cavaliers will be taking on the Detroit Pistons in the first game this evening on Cinco de Mayo. You're on Ticket 760.
Hey, San Antonio sports fans, imagine your business scoring big with thousands of passionate listeners who are already fired up about local sports. Right now, you're one of thousands tuned into Ticket 760. This is the raw power of live radio, immediate, loyal, and impossible to scroll past. The starting lineup is looking for sponsors who want direct access to this engaged audience. Sponsors also get professional social media production included. Shoot us an email at thestartinglineupshow@gmail.com. Team up with the starting lineup on Ticket 760. If you love yoga and want to join a welcoming community in San Antonio of fellow yogis, you should check out Black Swan Yoga San Antonio. I'm Carl Schoening, and practicing yoga is a daily must for me, and if you're into yoga like I am, then you'll love Black Swan Yoga San Antonio. Some days I want to get a workout in with their power classes, and some days I relax by taking their chill classes. Classes start weekdays at 6 a.m. and go until 8:30 p.m. Follow them on Instagram at Black Swan Yoga San Antonio to get their daily class schedule.
Got a DWI? Don't wait. What you do next matters. Not all classes are accepted by Texas courts. Before you pay, make sure it's state approved and live. Alamo Center has helped Texans for over 30 years complete their court-ordered DWI and drug education classes live and instructor-led. No pre-recorded videos. Real instructors, real support. Classes fill up fast. Secure your spot today. Speak to a live person now. Call 210-824-5537 or visit alamocenter.org. Alamo Center. The road back starts here.
If you care about predictions and props, right now, it's all about playoff pressure from the hardwood to the ice. BetOnline has always been the home of real sports wagering deep markets, sharp odds, and player props built for real fans. Basketball playoffs are heating up, stars taking over, series swinging on a single shot. And in hockey, it's all speed, grit, and sudden death moments where one goal changes everything. BetOnline delivers live betting and in-game odds that move with every bucket, every breakaway, every goal. Bet online. The game starts here.
Got wrecked? Got a pain in your neck? Thomas J. Henry is your next call. Thomas J. Henry has put over $1 billion in our clients' pockets in just 4 years. And we can help you too. Just look at our over 14,000 five-star reviews. The numbers and our clients speak for themselves. So if you've been in a car accident, visit thomasjhenrylaw.com today. Thomas J. Henry, the name you know, the firm you trust. Principal office in San Antonio.
You've probably heard all those ads for life insurance. Just a few dollars a day, apply online in minutes, no medical exam. Simple, easy, and cheap, right? Now you're thinking, maybe I should get a quote. Well, smart thinking. Everyone should have life insurance. But here's what they don't tell you. Those few dollars a day rates, they're for young people in perfect health. That's why everyone calls Big Lou the 50 to 60-year-old not-so-perfect candidate. Like you. You take prescription meds and you're overweight. Winner, winner, fried chicken dinner. Well, Big Lou works with life insurance companies that want people like you with no surprises after you apply. In fact, if you're a 50-year-old guy with a few health glitches, Lou could probably find you $1 million of term life coverage for about $200 a month. So yeah, you need life insurance. But unless you're young and healthy, you gotta call Big Lou because he's like you, older, heavier, and on meds too. Get a quote right now at 800-200-1966, 800-200-1966, or biglou.com.
For more information about contests on this station, go to ticket760.com/rules.
On Plus Nicotine Pouches present Comfort Chronicles. A 10 o'clock tea time. How comfortable. You show up in stretchy shorts, a breathable tee, and maybe no socks.
Let the dogs breathe.
While others sweat in pleated khakis, you're in your comfort zone bombing drives. And in your pocket, On Plus Nicotine Pouches. The softest pouch on the planet. Buy a can at onnicotine.com. Products for tobacco consumers 21 years of age or older. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Creating content to promote your brand is a 24/7 hustle these days. If you're looking for someone to professionally provide videos, photos, and more, reach out for a free consultation. Hi, I'm Carl Schoening, and I'm more than just the host of The Starting Lineup. I'm an expert in production work. I offer professional live streaming, podcast recording, photos, videos, social media strategy, and more. To learn more, shoot me an email at carlschoeningmedia@gmail.com or check out my work and shoot me a DM on Instagram at OnAirCarl. That's Carl with a K. Let's level up your content together.
Start your day with the starting lineup.
Yes, sir. We're happy you started your day with the starting lineup as we wrap up hour number 1 here on Ticket 760 and YouTube. I'm your host, Carl Schoening, LG, in the starting lineup with me, making sure we look good on YouTube, sound good over the radio airwaves and the iHeart app. And we like to hit every sport we kind of can around here. It's sort of the off season for the NFL, but the NFL is a monster that would like me to talk about them 365 days a year. Most interesting thing that kind of came out of the headlines that I was looking at is Andy Reid, the head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs, is ready to hold the first voluntary off-season practice, and these are the voluntary mandatory off-season practices in the NFL. You don't necessarily need to be there, but if you're not there, it's not good. And Patrick Mahomes, who is recovering from an ACL and LCL tear in his left knee, is scheduled to have some participation, although maybe be a limited participant in the OTAs May 26 to 28. Andy Reid said of Mahomes, he's in a good position to be able to do some things. If he can do some things, he'll do it. Phase 2 of the offseason program, there is no contact and there is no offense versus defense. Phase 3 is where you get into that, and I think he'll be in a position to do everything. And he said, I think. What was that? Practice. No, he needs it, obviously. It's ACL, and the Kansas City Chiefs and the NFL are better when Patrick Mahomes is playing. That's just the fact of the matter. You can have your own opinions about Patrick Mahomes. As an Eagles fan, I don't think that Mahomes is hated here in Texas as much as he's hated in Philadelphia. They have the Super Bowl rivalries, but Mahomes, Texas Tech, and is he from White House, Texas? Is that where he's from, LG? I think that's right. He's from he's from Texas. So Patrick Mahomes, definitely a bit more liked here in the Texas area. Once the Cowboys do something of note, we'll talk Cowboys. Also, the way too early, but not too early, Jordan Reed of ESPN 2027 NFL mock draft has some interesting names, as Arch Manning is projected to go first overall should the Arizona Cardinals get that pick. Talk about the other Longhorn that might get drafted in terms of Cam Coleman, a wide receiver. He could go in the top 5. Quarterbacks such as C.J. Carr from Notre Dame and Dante Moore from Oregon also expected to go in the top 5. And the first team that doesn't need a quarterback is most likely to take Jeremiah Smith, the wide receiver out of Ohio State.
Patrick Mahomes is from Tyler, Texas.
Tyler, Texas. There you go. So, yeah, that's near Dallas area, if I am getting my geography correct. So I get the feeling he's not as disliked by Cowboys fans as much as he is by Eagles fans, and maybe a little bit of that is a small hope that Patrick Mahomes might come in. But Jerry is married to Dak Prescott as far as I can tell, and in all fairness to Dak, he has been too good to give up on, but also at the same time, he has not had the playoff success that the Cowboys fans desire as well. Hour number 2 of the starting lineup, we'll dive into the second round of the NBA playoffs. The Cavaliers are going to be in Detroit tonight for the start of their series, and that one will also be another overlapping game. That one starts at 6, and at 7:30, the Lakers are in Oklahoma City to start off that second round matchup at the Paycom Center in Oklahoma City, and the Thunder have a really good chance to start rolling things out. And of course, we're going to talk Spurs in the top of the hour at the 7 o'clock hour. San Antonio, how do they get into this game? What are some exploits, some situations they can exploit in the second half? Talk about all of that and more on the starting lineup right here on Ticket 760 and on YouTube.
Right now, you're one of thousands tuned into this station. Locked in, fired up, and ready to talk Spurs, Cowboys, and everything in between. That's the unbeatable power of live radio. It reaches you instantly, and you can't scroll past it. Plus, we're streaming and growing on social media. The starting lineup is looking for sponsors who want direct access to this passionate audience. And when you join us, you get professional social media production included. Content created for your business. Shoot us an email right now at thestartinglineupshow@gmail.com. Team up with the starting lineup on Ticket 760. Looking for a new form of fitness that's low impact and offers variety? Then you should give yoga a try. I'm Carl Schoening, and you can catch me at Black Swan Yoga San Antonio almost every day. They offer beginner classes for people new to the practice and power classes for the more seasoned practitioners. Black Swan Yoga is a donation-based studio, so no need for a contract or expensive drop-in fee. Follow them on Instagram at Black Swan Yoga San Antonio and check out their daily schedule posts for a class that fits your busy day.
Summer weather on its way. It's going to be super hot. How's your AC system? You can call Manuel & Sons today and get a 1.5 to 5-ton Frederick 15 SEER for just $77.95. A spring tune-up, $89. Call them at 549-4839, manuelandsons.com.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call me, Lance Drury, today and let me get between you and the IRS. I'll protect your rights. At the Lance Drury Law Firm, our practice is focused 100% on fighting the IRS. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Drury Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in San Antonio. Call 726-202-1300. Visit Lance, D-R-U-R-Y, law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
If you're not digging the content you created on your phone, maybe it's time to upgrade to a content specialist who can make your video sharp and your audio clear. Hi, I'm Carl Schoening, and I'm more than just the host of The Starting Lineup. I'm an expert in production work. I offer social media content creation to help your brand grow online using professional photo, video, and audio equipment. To learn more, shoot me an email at carlschoeningmedia@gmail.com or check out my work and shoot me a DM on Instagram at OnAirCarl. That's Carl with a K. Let's level up your content together.
Kinetico, the last water softener you'll ever own. Go to KineticoSA.com.
This is Ticket 760, KTKR San Antonio, your home for sports. Guaranteed human from the Window Nation Studios. This is the starting lineup. Here's your host, Carl Schoening.
Yes, sir. This is the starting lineup. I'm Carl Schoening, starting at your host and the voice coming through your speakers. Two-man starting lineup in with me as we start the 7 o'clock hour on Ticket 760. LG, making sure we sound good and look good if you're watching on YouTube. Spurs fall to the Timberwolves. The second round, all of the series get started. The rest of the two series get started tonight, and a couple other things happening around the world of sports in San Antonio. UTSA with a huge baseball game tonight against the fourth-ranked Texas Longhorns. But we have to start off with the Minnesota Timberwolves knocking off the San Antonio Spurs last night, 104-102. I was on the broadcast with Dan Weiss for the radio call. A lot of people upset with NBC/Peacock not airing it on the actual NBC. Honestly, smart move for Peacock because they probably got a surge of new subscribers that are paying whatever it is, $11 for the ad-free or something like that. And
if I hadn't had been at the game, they would have got a subscription out of me. That's for sure.
For sure. You know, it seems like a pay-per-view kind of thing, but it's not pay-per-view. And there were probably a lot of people, especially on a Monday night, that decided they were going to drop the $11 to watch the Spurs instead of go out to a sports bar and spend $30 on food and drink and have to deal with the late night rush. It was an 8:30 tip. I didn't get home until just like, I think 12:30, almost 1 o'clock. What about you?
Yeah, same. There was some construction on I-35, so I had to actually go through downtown where there was no honking last night to get home. So unfortunate there was no honking, but yeah, it was a hard-fought game. I mean, despite it seemed like the Spurs were struggling the whole time, 0 for 12 from De'Aaron Fox and Victor Wembanyama from beyond the arc. But it was a close game the entire time. I think the Spurs won 2 out of the 4 quarters there. And it wasn't really until the fourth quarter when Minnesota actually pulled away from the game. And despite all that, De'Aaron Fox had, I think, 6 or 7 turnovers. Spurs still had a chance to win this one. If it wasn't for Julian Sampenny going a little tiny bit short, everyone's saying Mitch should have called a timeout there, but I disagree. I think the right move was to just to let him play. There was enough time to get it across half court, and Julian got an open shot.
Yeah, and I don't think that you could ask for a better shot on a set play. The Timberwolves seemed gas, and that is something that is very common thought process in the NBA, that the best chance to get a good look is when the defense is not set. You call that timeout, defense gets a chance to get set, and the Spurs could have potentially gone for 2 on a timeout because they would have forced overtime and such. But you can't argue with the open look for Sampenny. He knocks that shot down about as often as you can ask any Spur to make any shot. You're right. The largest lead for Minnesota was 9 points. It came late in that fourth quarter. Largest lead for San Antonio was 7, so neither team had a double-figure lead. It was a tightly contested battle all night. Very physical matchup. And we talked about this.
Both teams play hard.
Yes, both teams played hard indeed. But And that's almost what it feels like. You have to sort of chalk it up to the Timberwolves just outgrinded the Spurs in a close playoff game where the officials let them play. We talked about it a little bit. How were the Timberwolves going to handle Victor Wembanyama? They obviously started Rudy Gobert on him when Gobert wasn't on the court and Wemby was. It seemed like Julius Randle got the primary assignment. And this is where I think, and I have belief and faith that Wemby is going to bounce back with a vengeance. Sure, he had a playoff record 12 blocks in his 40 minutes yesterday, but only 11 points. Wemby dropped 39 points in the last meeting in San Antonio between the Timberwolves and the Spurs. Anthony Edwards had 55 in that January 17th game, and not expected to play up until game day. He drops 18 points in 25 minutes. I can quickly do the math on how many points he ended up having in the fourth quarter, as Anthony Edwards really did go off in that fourth quarter with 11 points.
How much of that injury, though, was smoke and mirrors? He was probably ready to go a few days ago, and they're like, yeah, let's just play this up until the exact the last moment, and then, okay, he's good to go. Pull him off the IR list.
Well, he didn't play in Game 6 against the Nuggets, so at least there was enough of a sign there that it was concerning enough that he missed a potential closeout game in the last series. But you do bring up a good point. Maybe he was feeling 50-50 in that game. They decide to rest him should there be a Game 7 potentially. Then they sort of get to milk it and throw the Spurs off because Ayo Dosunmu does not play. He wasn't available. Dante DiVincenzo, their starting two-guard, he's out for the rest of the year, probably next year with a ruptured Achilles. But coming off of the bench, providing the spark, providing the scoring punch, looking pretty good. I don't think Anthony Edwards really looked like he was slowed all that much by his hyperextended knee.
Didn't look like he skipped a beat. And all the social medias were saying Ant's going to be out game 1 and 2. For sure he's out games 1 and 2. And then all of a sudden, boom, he's playing.
That was the initial media report. I even have to do reports for the Spurs. In fact, I have to send one in probably here soon. It's so crazy how everything gets tied up. Last night I had some issues leaving the Frost Bank Center. It was so crowded out there, but the Spurs do come away falling down 104-102, and that's where I think the shift changes here. Victor Wembanyama just needs to be more assertive, and while he did put up 17 shots, a lot of his 8 3-pointers didn't necessarily seem to be, I guess, it feels like a bailout when Wemby probably shoots a 3 sometimes. If he has it going from 3, that's another story. But when Wemby was 0 for 5 from 3, it sort of felt like maybe it's just not his night and he should work in a little bit more. Some of the last 3 shots that he did put up did feel flow the offense. But Wemby is such a dominant player that you need to get him his points and his touches. And I get that there are other players on the Spurs that can score, but at the same time, I do feel like Victor Wembanyama, if he can be a 20-plus point per game scorer, the Spurs are much harder to beat. And last night, he only had 11 points. Something to think about for the Spurs, as Wemby does get that historic triple-double, most blocks in a playoff game with 12, 15 rebounds, 11 assists. Julian Champagnie was great. He went 3 of 7 from 3, 7 of 12 overall for 17 points, just missed the potential game winner. De'Aaron Fox, now he, if I'm not mistaken, only had 2 points entering the fourth quarter, had 8 points in the fourth quarter. So fourth quarter Fox does show up a little bit, but just not quite enough from De'Aaron Fox. And whenever you look at a 2-point loss, there's so many things you can point at to if this one thing changes this way, that, the other, the Spurs maybe come away with the win. But the Spurs actually just fall partly because of their 3-point shooting. 10 of 36, 28% from behind the 3-point line. As a team, the Spurs shoot below 45%. This game was tied at 45 at the half. It was a very low-scoring, grinded-out throwback of a playoff game. You would think that this was back when the Spurs met the Timberwolves the last time they met in the playoffs in 2001, the way this game was going. Yeah, obviously a lot fewer threes being put up, but just the refs let them play. And I mentioned this in the first hour, mentioned again, the only real criticism I had of the officials was that Steph Castle fouled out. And of his 6 fouls, if you look at them, it really felt like 3 of them were bad calls where Castle was actually the party that was fouled, maybe 4. the Spurs used their only challenge in the first quarter when Castle, it looked like he pulled down Jaden McDaniels, and that was what they reviewed and called, was that Castle pulled down McDaniels. But if you look at it from the silver and black glasses point of view, seeing it through the silver and black eyes, it looked like Castle got shoved down by Jaden McDaniels. McDaniels was also in foul trouble a good chunk of the night, as he finished with 5 personal fouls, as did Julius Randle, but neither one of them foul out. Spurs got to bounce back tomorrow night. It's another 8:30 start. It's not a fiesta night. The Spurs are going to have to, get through their own energy levels to figure out how they're going to respond. But
it will be a blackout night. There will be free T-shirts, and there will be black Go Spurs Go shirts. So wear your shirt, or you'll get shamed on the Jumbotron.
Yeah, that is one of the best parts about it. I do want to say that when it came to the fourth quarter, the Spurs only put up 4 free throw attempts, and there were 8 from Minnesota. They go 7 of 8 from the free throw line. And in the third quarter, the Timberwolves also get to the free throw line 12 times. So just there in that second half, the Spurs don't get to the free throw line enough. And I think that Minnesota earned those trips to the line. I again, am not criticizing the officiating in terms of that. That comes down to the Spurs needing to just bully their way to the rim a little bit more. And when the three-point shot isn't falling, you got to start to try and get your threes and one. And that was really just the deciding factor last night. Was I think that the Timberwolves were able to sort of play to the game that the way the officials were calling it, as opposed to the way that the Spurs are used to. If they can't hit those threes, obviously if the Spurs shoot 40%, they win this one running away from behind the three-point line, but they shoot under 30%, and that ends up being their downfall.
Yeah, and you mentioned the free throws. The Spurs actually got to the line more times than the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Spurs got, I'm looking at the stats wrong. They got to the line a little bit less. They shot 77%. Minnesota actually shot worse. They got to the line more, but they shot worse. They shot barely 57% from the free throw line. And if the Spurs just make a couple of theirs, because Minnesota wasn't doing good, and granted, a lot of that's from Rudy Gobert, but if the Spurs just made a couple of free throws, they're maybe going to overtime. 3-point percentage, obviously, that was the Achilles heel in this one. De'Aaron Fox and Victor Wembanyama are not going to go 0 for 12 in another game this entire series.
Silver lining there. If you're trying to look on the bright side for the Spurs, sucks that they fall down 0-1 in the series, but there's so many things that you feel like are not going to be repeated. And you have to also assume that despite being on a minutes restriction and playing through an injury, Anthony Edwards had one of the better games that he could have. Julius Randle, 20-plus points. That's something that I think the Spurs can adjust and fix. And 4 players in the starting lineup for the Timberwolves score in double figures. So they were getting their production. The only starter that didn't score in double figures is Rudy Gobert. That's fairly common. Gobert comes away with 5 stocks, 4 steals, and a block with 10 rebounds. So Gobert just having a typical Rudy Gobert defensive anchor night. And I got to give a shout out to Terrence Shannon Jr. He continues to be a very good starting player for the Minnesota Timberwolves. And how about Mike Conley? Conley knocks down 4 threes, and that is probably the big difference in the game, is that Mike Conley in 24 minutes was very effective in his 12-point scoring and had 6 assists as well. So you talk about what they're missing with Anthony Edwards not in the starting lineup. Terrence Shannon Jr. and Mike Conley really made up for that difference. And this is a scrappy Timberwolves team. We talked about it after they defeated the Denver Nuggets, that this is a tough team to play. They have a lot of good defenders. They know how to grind it out. It almost feels sort of like those grindhouse Grizzlies. Spurs cannot overcome the physical play, but it really came down to the shooting, not necessarily the physical play. No matter how physical you are, the Spurs were not getting fouled behind the three-point line. They were getting decent enough looks. They just did not fall, and the Spurs do fall 104-102.
Yep, and turnovers really hurt them late in the game. De'Aaron Fox is at fault for that, but stay at bay, all you De'Aaron Fox haters. He will bounce back, and he is Mr. Clutch. He will, you're allowed to have a bad game here and there, and it's going to happen to every single player. Vic had a bad game, despite setting the blocks record and pulling down 15 boards.
I'm not concerned. At the end of this conversation, really not concerned. I think the Spurs can still win 4 of the next 6 games. If this goes 7, it goes 7. The Spurs,
hopefully they win 4 of the next.
The Spurs would like to sweep the leg.
Hopefully they win 4 of the next 6.
That'd be great if the Spurs sweep the back end and they win this one in 5. Very possible. That it is something to keep an eye on, as the Spurs would like to win this series as quick as possible. When we come back, we'll talk about their future opponent, either the Lakers or the Thunder. Of course, the Spurs have to get past the Timberwolves, but that series gets started tonight. OKC will host the Los Angeles Lakers. The Cavaliers take on the Pistons as the second round finishes up their first games in the NBA playoffs. We talk about that and more on the starting lineup on Ticket 760.
Black Swan Yoga is a donation-based yoga studio with 3 locations in San Antonio. There's no pressure for a membership of any kind. Just drop in when you can, pay what you can, come as you are, and give yoga a shot. Classes start at 6 a.m. and go until 8:30 p.m. on weekdays, with varieties such as hot and room temperature classes, beginner, chill, power, and all-level flow classes. I'm almost there every day, and it's a great way to relax or get a good workout in. Give yoga a shot at Black Swan Yoga San Antonio. Creating content to promote your brand is a 24/7 hustle these days. If you're looking for someone to professionally provide videos, photos, and more, reach out for a free consultation. Hi, I'm Carl Schoening, and I'm more than just the host of the starting lineup. I'm an expert in production work. I offer professional live streaming, podcast recording, photos, videos, social media strategy, and more. To learn more, shoot me an email at carlschoeningmedia@gmail.com or check out my work and shoot me a DM on Instagram at OnAirCarl. That's Carl with a K. Let's level up your content together.
Proud to make Pops proud. Proud to be Proud Pops.
I'm Brandon Rackler, co-founder of Proud Pops Plumbing, Air, and Electric.
And I'm Jacob Magby, the other co-founder and also co-brother.
With air conditioning season here already, homeowners are wondering if that old AC that barely made it through last summer is ready to handle this summer.
But no one wants to buy a new AC if the old one can be fixed up. Good as new.
As Pops used to say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
To be fair, quite a lot of people say that.
Yeah, but when Pops said it, he meant don't pressure people into an expensive replacement when the AC they have still has a few good years left, in the hands of the right serviceman.
Call Proud Pops and we'll assess the situation and give you a Pops proof report with a plethora of pictures that clearly show what needs to be done.
As Pops used to say, a picture is worth 1,000 words.
Literally everyone says a picture is worth 1,000 words.
Proud to make Pops proud. Proud to be Proud Pops.
Give us a call and we'll pop in.
Visit proudpops.com.
Voters are listening to the radio, tons of them. If you're running for office, radio is where people are actually tuned in, not swiping past ads. Connect with communities everywhere and get on the air in just 48 hours. Visit winwithiheart.com. That's winwithiheart.com.
Ready to upgrade to the perfect sleep setup? Let Mattress Firm sleep experts guide you to the perfect bed at the Memorial Day sale. Top brands, ideal comfort. Score unbeatable deals on both. They make sleep easy.
When it comes to results, the numbers speak for themselves. Thomas J. Henry secured over $1 billion for clients in the past 4 years and successfully represented thousands of injured Texans. Thomas J. Henry, the name you know, the firm you trust. San Antonio, Texas.
On Plus Nicotine Pouches present Comfort Chronicles. A 10 o'clock tea time. How comfortable. You show up in stretchy shorts, a breathable tee, and maybe no socks.
Let the dogs breathe.
While others sweat in pleated khakis, you're in your comfort zone bombing drive. And in your pocket, On Plus Nicotine Pouches. The softest pouch on the planet. Buy a can at onnicotine.com. Products for tobacco consumers 21 years of age or older. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Hi, it's Mr. T. San Antonio RVs, locally owned. That's right, they're a mom and pop shop. From new RVs to pampered pre-owns, from big to small, whether you need a 4-person RV, an 8-person RV, or even bigger, they've got you covered. Sales, consignment, service, whatever you need, check out sanantonioRVs.com. Matt, the big dog, will take care of everything you need. And if you need service, now's the time to get it scheduled. Once again, that's sanantonioRVs.com.
Hey, San Antonio sports fans, imagine your business scoring big with thousands of passionate listeners who are already fired up about local sports. Right now, you're one of thousands tuned in to Ticket 760. This is the raw power of live radio, immediate, loyal, and impossible to scroll past. The starting lineup is looking for sponsors who want direct access to this engaged audience. Sponsors also get professional social media production included. Shoot us an email at thestartinglineupshow@gmail.com. Team up with the starting lineup on Ticket 760.
Class of 2026, it's your year. Celebrate the music that fueled late night crams, hallway hangs, and every unforgettable moment with iHeartRadio's Ultimate Class of 2026 playlist. The soundtrack to your senior year and beyond. But we didn't stop there. Whether you graduated in 95, 05, or just last year, we've got a playlist for your class too. Search Class of and the year you graduated on the free iHeartRadio app and relive your glory days, one song at a time.
Your ticket for the best Spurs talk. Back to the starting lineup.
Yes, sir. This is the starting lineup. We do talk Spurs. We talked on it on the first hour. I'm your host, Carl Schoening. We talk about it the second hour, and you can get involved in this show and communicate with us a plethora of ways. My preferred method is Twitter. Follow me on Twitter/X or on Instagram @OnAirCarl. That is Carl with a K. @OnAirCarl.
Yep.
Carl with a C is probably mad at me by sending some of y'all over to him, but it's all good.
You know, I know two Carls, and they're both Carls with Ks.
There is an @OnAirCarl with a C, and I get the feeling he's going to be disappointed if you guys keep flooding him instead, and I'll be disappointed you follow him instead of me. The other guy you hear in the starting lineup today is LG. He is @DJLG210. What other ways can they get involved with the show, LG?
You can hit the show up itself. It has a Twitter page as well, @TSL760. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and all the other social medias @Starting Lineup Live, and subscribe to this thing. We are broadcasting live on YouTube right now. Starting Lineup Live is the handle on YouTube. Hit that like button if you're watching right now. We'd appreciate it.
They Call Me Bob is in here on Twitter as he sends me a tweet. He says 3 bullet points: get Wemby inside in the paint offensively, half court press on defense, pass the ball, it moves faster than players. And I do think that Wemby should probably get a little bit more looks inside, pick and rolls, all those fun things. There should be a little bit more pressure with that. That is the one thing about Mike Conley, is he's a very veteran point guard, so that half-court pressure could be an interesting change-up, but also Mike Conley very good at his job. And pass the ball. The Spurs, let me double-check. I think they didn't do too bad in terms of assists to made field goals. They just weren't getting their three-pointers to fall, as the Spurs do have 24 assists on 39 made field goals, and I get the feeling their potential assists were high. The Spurs missed 16 of their 36 three-point attempts last night. So San Antonio falls 104-102 to the Minnesota Timberwolves in game 1 of that series. Second round series gets the other half of their 4 series remaining in the NBA playoffs started tonight. Another overlapping evening on Peacock as the Cavaliers are being hosted by the Pistons. Interesting series there. I'm going to say that the Pistons get a wake-up call from the Orlando Magic, and the Cavaliers, while I feel like the Cavaliers are more experienced and arguably more talented, the Pistons are just, they have a tough-it-out edge to them. The Pistons are sort of like the Spurs of the East, where they were the surprise 60-win team. They end up with the number 1 overall seed in that side of the bracket, on the Eastern Conference side of the bracket. And the Cavaliers are a team that had the 1 seed last year. They look a little bit different as they bring in James Harden. And Donovan Mitchell and James Harden have a solid enough rapport. Dennis Schroeder really shows a lot of leadership. He wants to win a championship. I like the Cavaliers to win this series in 6 now that I really start to talk about it and think about it. Cavaliers just have, I think, a better roster overall. They have the experience, and Cleveland, this might be the time they make the finals without LeBron possibly. The other series in that happening tonight, the Lakers are being hosted by the Thunder. LeBron James coming off of a series where he was the main focus of the Rockets defense, but against the Thunder, man, if the Lakers can somehow sneak out a win here, it would be great. But even with Luka Doncic, I just think the Thunder are too much to handle. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and company are just too tough to beat. The whistle really is in favor of Oklahoma City in Oklahoma City. That is a great rabid fan base that I do feel like they influence the officials to help get a few more calls. And the Thunder are really good at selling contact. And that's going to be a big factor, is how many times the Thunder get to the free throw line. The Lakers, they just don't have the firepower, even with Austin Reeves coming back, even if Luka Doncic did come back. OKC just too good, and I imagine they'll be waiting for hopefully the Spurs to wrap up the series pretty quickly against the Timberwolves, but I could see the Thunder finishing their series before the Spurs and Timberwolves, as that seems like a sweep to me, a gentleman's sweep at best, and they finish it off in Game 5 in Oklahoma City. Want to keep an eye on that one when that happens. We'll have plenty of conversation about both of those games in tomorrow's edition of the starting lineup. And they call me Bob, says, thanks for the shout out. I do like his handle. He says, bite my bait. I get the feeling Bob's a fisherman. So I think that, if you ever fish, you really hope that you do get your bait to get bitten. You're out there to relax for fishing, but you also do want to make sure you come away with the exciting part. So thank you for the follow. Thank you for interacting with the show, Bob. Anybody else, LG? Any other interactions we got going on? Any other ways? We did get somebody to buy us a coffee. You can support that way.
Yeah, you can support us by going to buymeacoffee.com/thestartinglineup. And, that's where we accept your money. We will buy coffees or energy drinks like Carl's drinking right there.
Yeah. I won't. I move on from energy drinks after my first cup of coffee. But, this is the first time we're doing the show live. We had been pre-recording and uploading them. We would go live at YouTube after the NBA playoffs were done any given night. And this is our first time going live.
Yeah, we are on a lack of sleep because both of us got home way after midnight last night and had to get up, early. 4:30 a.m. is when I woke up this morning to get ready for this show.
About a 3-hour nap time for me. And I woke up at 4 a.m. That snooze button is so dangerous at 4 a.m. I had a second alarm set at 4:15. I remember kind of waking up at 4 a.m. And then the 4:15 alarm saved me because I had somehow fallen back asleep in my bed. I have my phone on the other side of the room, so I have to get up and go pick up my phone. And
that's a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah, but I had picked it up and taken it back to bed and said, I can sleep for a little bit longer. I need to be careful. That is dangerous. I wanted to work in a bike ride, and I could do that, but I didn't. I need to be a bit more disciplined. I will be at Black Swan Yoga at 9 o'clock. That'll be what I do to sort of get my movement in. And I'm not going to be able to get back to sleep right away, but I might, after my shower, after the yoga class, take a nap, and then we get into playoff basketball, a few other things that we want to do for the show. It's always fun if you guys want to interact with us in all of those ways.
Yeah, but speaking of interacting, Chris Silva's in here again, and he says, Viva Cinco de Mayo.
Oh, right. I need to also remember that I'm young in a fun city like San Antonio, and Cinco de Mayo in San Antonio, I haven't really been here all that often. I've only lived in San Antonio 3 out of the last 4 years, and 2 of those years, I suppose, I had a girlfriend, and maybe we went out and did some stuff. I can't even remember at this point, but I need to go out and probably meet that new girlfriend at some point. I can't do it if I'm sleeping for. You either get a well-rested Carl for the 6 a.m. show, or I went out and had fun. Hit us up on the social medias. Let us know what you're doing tonight for Cinco de Mayo. I might join you. That could be a fun way if I could get enough rest to go out, and then you might have to carry the show for us tomorrow, LG.
Okay, I imagine a lot of people are going to do some barbecuing, get the carnitas on the grill, the what do they call it? The asadas. Is that a California thing? I don't know. The fajitas here. Yeah, no asadas. We do fajitas in San Antonio.
Any Mexican food is just great with me.
Okay, margaritas for sure.
Definitely. You have to have your tequila in some form or another. The frozen margarita is my preferred method.
I know you're a frozen guy. I'm more of an on the rocks guy.
You see, here's my issue. It's not alcohol. It's all liquids. I will drink liquid fast. So the frozen margarita saves me from myself because I can't drink that fast. You give me a margarita on the rocks, all of that thing done in 3 sips.
That's gone. Well, the other one, if you drink fast, the frozen one, you get a brain freeze. So
there's a natural deterrent there. So yeah. So same thing. I carry around a half-gallon water bottle, and I will probably go through at least 2 of those a day. Sometimes I'm on a third, just because I need to get liquids in. And if you're out with me at a bar, I just need to pace myself with a water between the drinks.
You really have to drink responsibly.
Yeah, just because it's so natural for me to want to consume liquids in general, whether it's alcoholic or not. I go through the souvenir cups at Spurs games. I go through 3 of those, whether it's the unsweetened tea, which is my probably best, healthiest method, but I'll sometimes have a soda.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so
the free refills don't help.
No, and I'm right next to a couple refill stations, and it's easy enough for me to go down. And I need to keep my throat hydrated as well over the course of a broadcast. So yeah, definitely, if you guys want to so much as just make sure that I can swing by and stay caffeinated in some way, or that buy me a coffee ends up being a shot of tequila or a frozen margarita, we appreciate that any which way. I do want to give some love to Pat Hallmark's baseball club at UTSA. They have a big game tonight in Austin against the 4th-ranked Texas Longhorns. And then I do want to touch on a couple other stories happening around the world of sports. And probably, just because it's out of habit, going to talk Spurs at least one more time before we wrap up the final 30 minutes of the starting lineup. Keep it tuned in here on Ticket 760. You can keep watching us on YouTube. We appreciate all the interaction. We will touch on your comments if they are FCC appropriate here on the starting lineup. So get involved in the show. LG and I are going to keep an eye out for that interaction. But we're going to step aside for a quick break and come back with more UTSA talk here on the starting lineup.
Spurs Insider. Brought to you by Ahia.
Victor Wembanyama recorded the 7th triple-double in Spurs playoff history and set a modern-day NBA playoff record with 12 blocks. The Spurs dropped Game 1 of the Western Conference Semifinals 104-102 to the Minnesota Timberwolves Monday at the Frost Bank Center. Dylan Harper added 18 points off the bench as all 5 starters finished in double figures. Spurs and Timberwolves continue the series with Game 2 Wednesday. Tip times at 8:30 on Spurs Radio 1200 WOAI.
It's about family. Affordable health insurance for all your insurance needs. Life, health, home, and auto assistance. Here's about family. Go to AhiaBenefits.com. Ahia. It's about family.
If you're not digging the content you created on your phone, maybe it's time to upgrade to a content specialist who can make your video sharp and your audio clear. Hi, I'm Carl Schoening, and I'm more than just the host of the starting lineup. I'm an expert in production work. I offer social media content creation to help your brand grow online using professional photo, video, and audio equipment. To learn more, shoot me an email at carlschoeningmedia@gmail.com or check out my work and shoot me a DM on Instagram at OnAirCarl. That's Carl with a K. Let's level up your content together. Right now, you're one of thousands tuned into this station. Locked in, fired up, and ready to talk Spurs, Cowboys, and everything in between. That's the unbeatable power of live radio. It reaches you instantly, and you can't scroll past it. Plus, we're streaming and growing on social media. The starting lineup is looking for sponsors who want direct access to this passionate audience. And when you join us, you get professional social media production included. Content created for your business. Shoot us an email right now at thestartinglineupshow@gmail.com. Team up with the starting lineup on Ticket 760.
It's time to warm up that scoreboard and get ready to bring home the win with Specs. Specs has you covered with lower prices on all your favorite fan fuel. From craft beer, rare spirits, and world-class wine to chips, dips, and gourmet finer foods. And with same-day delivery when you order online or through the app, Specs is your MVP for the biggest score of the game. At Specs, the fun starts here.
Here's to you, cheers to savings.
When it comes to your home, visibility matters, especially at night. I'm George Salinas with Absolute Power. Proper landscape lighting helps deter intruders, improves visibility, and keeps walkways, entry points, and dark corners well lit. We design and install outdoor lighting that adds security without sacrificing appearance. Call today at 210-904-1521 or visit absolute-pwr.com to schedule your free estimate. Absolute Power Electrical Contractors, at your service.
Make Cinco de Mayo delicious with Easy Cater, the easiest way to order food from favorite restaurants for all your celebrations. From April 27th through May 5th, every order placed earns you 1,000 bonus rewards points. Whether you're looking for traditional favorites like tacos and tortas, festive options like a build-your-own nacho bar, or hosting a breakfast fiesta with huevos rancheros and breakfast burritos, Easy Cater makes food for Cinco de Mayo a cinch. Order now at easycater.com with promo code Cinco de Mayo 26. Restrictions apply. See offer details.
Offers vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions.
$3,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for buying gas. Earn cash back with Upside just by filling up your tank. Download Upside now and start earning easy cash back. The more you use Upside, the more you get. Use promo code LIST to get an extra 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's promo code LIST for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Hi, everyone. It's Andy Everett. Are you still feeling tired and sluggish? It might be that you're getting older, but it could be that you have low T. And you see, as we age, we lose testosterone. For some of us, that happens way too early. I was in that boat 8 years ago, and for the last 8 years, the great providers at Synergenics have made me better than I was then. What motivates you? Your golf game? Fun things this summer with your friends and family? Synergenics can find that customized plan for you that will help you for years to come. If you're ready to live life to the fullest, book your consultation right now at feelgreatlookgreat.com.
If you're looking for a new way to burn calories, get some simple movement in, or just relax, I have to tell you about Black Swan Yoga San Antonio. There are 3 Black Swan Yoga studios in San Antonio at Downtown, the Vineyard, and newly opened in Alamo Ranch. Try their fire and ice for a quick workout followed by a relaxing stretch, or get a combination of cardio and strength training in their new Swan Sculpt classes. Black Swan Yoga is a donation-based studio, so no need to sign a membership or pay an expensive drop-in fee. Just swing by and give yoga a try.
Silver and black, and no excuses. Start your day with a starting lineup.
Thank you for starting your day with the starting lineup. It is 7:36 on Ticket 760. I'm your host, Carl Schoening. LG is in the starting lineup with me today, making sure we look good on YouTube, sound good on the radio and the iHeart app. You can get in touch with us. I am at On Air Carl. That is Carl with a K, K-A-R-L, at On Air Carl on Instagram and X. He is at DJLG210 on the social medias. You can get in touch with the show at TSL760 on X. And LG, what's the YouTubes out there? I need to commit this to memory, but I got to get you involved to tell us about the YouTubes.
Well, the YouTubes and the social medias, Instagram, Facebook, everything. It's Starting Lineup Live. That's the handle, because we are live and we are the Starting Lineup. So Starting Lineup Live on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook and Threads. We're not on Blue Sky, though. Not yet.
No, we got to draw the line somewhere. Isn't there also like a Lemonade and Pinterest? And there's a few of those that were
Pinterest still a thing?
It is still a thing.
Oh, okay.
I think women love Pinterest. I don't know too many men that are on Pinterest.
Yeah, we're not on there.
Yeah, no, for sure. You know, something that you and I were on previously, and we probably really miss, I miss the days at least, is doing UTSA baseball. You were involved with the broadcast with me for a few years there. I had been calling their games for the last 4 seasons. Pat Hallmark is a hell of a coach, the head coach for UTSA baseball. He has them atop of the American Conference with a 15-6 conference record, 33-14 overall. And tonight is a big rematch in Austin at UFCU Disch-Falk Field against the 4th in the nation, Texas Longhorns. Last time these two teams met at Disch-Falk Field, UTSA upset the Longhorns in their own regional to advance to the UCLA Super Regional and go as far as UTSA has gone in the baseball NCAA tournament. As over the weekend, UTSA hosted Wichita State and played a Saturday doubleheader before wrapping up their first American Conference sweep on Sunday. UTSA had 3 solid outings on the mound, including a career day from freshman Jake Quela. I need to make sure I say his name in the finale. In the sweep, UTSA cruised past the Shockers with a combined 21-10 tally and improved to 19-5 at home this year. So, the Bird Bath, it's getting so much better. You and I were just talking about this yesterday, actually, about the ballparks in the sort of non-Texas area down this stretch of I-35.
Yeah.
San Marcos has a beautiful ballpark. Texas State.
They do now.
You were at Texas State when it was not so good.
Yeah.
And
it wasn't great.
Yeah.
It's like a little, like McAllister Park Little League field.
Yeah. Texas State has very much come a long way, and they're going to continue to come a long way. UTSA, it's next. They at least finally got a video board. The race center was the first step. The what do they call it? It's Park West Fieldhouse over where the track and field and soccer teams have their events. That was sort of the second part of the new American initiative, if you will. There's a new race center that's going to be a volleyball and basketball facility. That'll be really beautiful once it's built right next to the race center. They needed that bad because they would obviously have a little bit of overlap with volleyball and basketball and need another place for there to be practice facilities. So that'll be great for them, as it's a short walk just from the race center down to the convocation center. At least it's short for those athletes for sure. But UTSA baseball gets a big improvement with, I think, last year, 2 years ago, was the first year that they had the new stands and press box. It's nice.
It's an improvement.
It's an improvement. I would say that those years where, as a broadcaster, I was out in the stands with the fans and there weren't really steps and they were just bleachers. This is a much nicer reserved seating, back seats. And
it's a good change.
Yeah. And this new video board, it's a nice improvement over the old school video board that or the old school scoreboard that they probably had since the program started in the early 90s. So got to give UTSA baseball a shout out. They are easily one of the more fun teams that you can follow in San Antonio, if beyond the Spurs. Do want to talk some UIW football at some point. UIW is the football team I cover. We'll obviously talk UTSA football here, the home for UTSA football, ticket 760. Texas State going to the Pac-12 officially in July. That move
Another
happens.
move?
Yes, but the Pac-12, that's an upgrade because the Sun Belt and the Conference USA were both stopgaps for UTSA and Texas State when the WAC sank. It was a sinking ship.
Okay,
They had to abandon ship, and they were able to stay in the FBS. And then they both now improve in their conferences that they were able to jump out of the WAC into. So
how many moves is that? Because when I went to Texas State, they were in the Southland Conference.
So they went from the Southland to the WAC. The WAC was only for 1 year, and then they jumped into the Sun Belt. They were in the Sun Belt. This is their last season in the Sun Belt.
Okay.
And next year they're in the Pac-12.
Okay, not as many as I thought.
Yeah, UTSA also went Southland to WAC, and they go into Conference USA, and then in 2023 they make the jump into the American Athletic Conference. So conference realignment, it's slowing down quite a bit. It was quite the Wild West around 2010, 2011 range. That's why the WAC failed, because they had Boise State, they had Nevada, they had Hawaii, they had a ton of these schools that they were really only there for 1 year and then they all dispersed. The new Pac-12 is very interesting. You have the Oregon State and Washington State founding members, if you will, but then you have Gonzaga, San Diego State's in there. That'll be a fun trip. I hope to maybe see if I can sneak out a trip to San Diego with Texas State in some way or another. I know you're a favorite of San Diego, so something to kind of keep an eye on. But no, shout out once more to UTSA. Big game tonight in Austin. My guy, Mike Hardball Harge, who is our morning show counterpart in Austin on the iHeart station up there, AM 1300 The Zone, will be on the call with the SEC Plus Network, SEC Network Plus, whatever they call that, streaming. But receiving votes, not in the top 25, but somebody who is very much on the fringe of it, UTSA, looking to get a big win against fourth-ranked Texas, who is 35-10 and 15-8 in the SEC. Meep indeed. We will talk about that one tomorrow. We will also talk about the NBA playoffs. But we wrap up the starting lineups first live morning show, 6 to 8 here with the final segment of the best playoff teams. And this is LG's
playoff cities.
Playoff cities. There you go. I was about to say, this is LG's segment coming up here. He had a good idea. I didn't even know what it is. So I'm excited to hear what LG has cooked up for us in the final segment of today's show. Keep it tuned in here to Ticket 760. Appreciate y'all joining us in the starting lineup today.
Hey, San Antonio sports fans, imagine your business scoring big with thousands of passionate listeners who are already fired up about local sports. Right now, you're one of thousands tuned in to Ticket 760. This is the raw power of live radio, immediate, loyal, and impossible to scroll past. The starting lineup is looking for sponsors who want direct access to this engaged audience. Sponsors also get professional social media production included. Shoot us an email at thestartinglineupshow@gmail.com. Team up with the starting lineup on Ticket 760. If you love yoga and want to join a welcoming community in San Antonio of fellow yogis, you should check out Black Swan Yoga San Antonio. I'm Carl Schoening, and practicing yoga is a daily must for me, and if you're into yoga like I am, then you'll love Black Swan Yoga San Antonio. Some days I want to get a workout in with their power classes, and some days I relax by taking their chill classes. Classes start weekdays at 6 a.m. and go until 8:30 p.m. Follow them on Instagram at Black Swan Yoga San Antonio to get their daily class schedule.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is, if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
Since 1993, Thomas J. Henry dedicated himself to building a firm that injured clients can trust and respect. A firm backed by a track record of success and a commitment to our clients. If you've been injured, trust Thomas J. Henry. San Antonio, Texas.
On Plus Nicotine Pouches present Comfort Chronicles. A 10 o'clock tea time. How comfortable. You show up in stretchy shorts, a breathable tee, and maybe no socks.
Let the dogs breathe.
While others sweat in pleated khakis, you're in your comfort zone bombing drives. And in your pocket, On Plus Nicotine Pouches. The softest pouch on the planet. Buy a can at onnicotine.com. Products for tobacco consumers 21 years of age or older. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Summer is on its way, and it's going to be super hot again. You can count on that. If your air conditioning system isn't up to par, or if you need a new one, it's time to call Manuel & Sons. At Manuel & Sons, right now, you can get a 1.5 to 5-ton Frederick 15 SEER for just $77.95. Need a spring tune-up? Right now, only $89. Certified technicians, local company, someone actually answers the phone. If your system is struggling, call today, 549-4839, 549-4839, manuelandsons.com. Have you purchased your Connecticut Quality Water Softener yet? If not, what are you waiting for? You need to take advantage of this great offer right now. Interest-free financing for 12 months and a free reverse osmosis system. So you don't have to pay any interest for a year, and you get great tasting water right there at your kitchen sink. Have you ever opened up the dishwasher and seen a lot of spots and looking like your dishes aren't that clean? That is hard water. Same can go for your clothes when they come out of the washing machine. Same can come for yourself when you get out of the shower. And the money that you spend on a Connecticut Quality Water Softener, you're likely going to save because you're not going to have repair bills trying to fix or replace your appliances, and you're not going to have to call a plumber all the time because of all that bad water going through your pipes. It's an amazing offer. Interest-free financing for 12 months, a free reverse osmosis system when you purchase a Connecticut quality water softener, and it's the best and last water softener you're ever going to own. Call them today at 656-PURE, 656-7873. Love your water. Get a Connecticut quality water softener, ConnecticutSA.com.
At Target, finding something for every kind of mom and every side of mom just got easier. Does she love fashion? Take 20% off select women's clothing and accessories and find a dress she'll love to wear. Is she into the outdoors? Freshen up her favorite spot with up to 40% off planters, pillows, and poofs. Or keep it classic, fresh tulips for just $12 and a Dossier fragrance trio for $32. Whatever mom is into, we've got it. Celebrate mom her way, only at Target. Restrictions apply.
Creating content to promote your brand is a 24/7 hustle these days. If you're looking for someone to professionally provide videos, photos, and more, reach out for a free consultation. Hi, I'm Carl Schoening, and I'm more than just the host of The Starting Lineup. I'm an expert in production work. I offer professional live streaming, podcast recording, photos, videos, social media strategy, and more. To learn more, shoot me an email at carlschoeningmedia@gmail.com or check out my work and shoot me a DM on Instagram at OnAirCarl. That's Carl with a K. Let's level up your content together.
He bleeds silver and black. Back to Carl Schoening in the Starting Lineup.
Bit of a tough morning to bleed silver and black. The Spurs fall to the Minnesota Timberwolves 104-102. I'm your host, Carl Schoening, and I'm starting to nod off a little here, LG. I'm running on about 2.5 hours of sleep. I know you're about the same way, but we finally made it to the last segment before Dan Patrick comes on next. So if you're tuning in early to listen to Dan Patrick, this is a local San Antonio sports talk show where we obviously talk a lot of Spurs. But, you know, LG, you're the producer. You keep me in line, and you also come up with some interesting topics.
Sometimes.
And I like this one that you presented to me, and I'm going with zero content here. I know that this is the top playoff cities list. I don't know anything else about it. Why don't you introduce the topic?
Okay, mysa.com, a reporter, the culture reporter, Emma Weidman, has came out with a list of the top playoff cities in America. And this is actually based on NBA and NHL. So it has nothing to do with the NFL, but San Antonio actually ranked number 7 on this list. Number 1, can you take a guess?
Of the, probably New York. No?
Nope. It would be none other than fabulous Las Vegas.
Las Vegas?
Yes. Las Vegas got number 1 playoff city in all of America.
What is this based on?
It's based off NHL and NBA, but it's also based on the city itself. Things to do in town, sports bars.
I guess I see
sports
it.
books, you know, what places to eat, you know, just overall entertainment. Number 2, any guesses?
It's not New York either?
No.
What?
It would be Orlando, Florida, of all places. Yeah, I guess because of Disneyland. I'm not sure why that's
I need
there.
to contest this list already.
Okay, so but third up, you already guessed it. Third is New York City.
New York needs to be one because you if you go to Madison Square Garden, there's a million things to do before and after.
That's true. There, and then right outside Yankee Stadium, there's a ton of restaurants and bars, and the same with the Citi Field. I almost called it Shea Stadium. Citi Field over there in Queens, where the Mets play. There's a lot of fun in New York.
And there's fun to be had in Vegas. Don't get me wrong, but it's not New York. I would much rather be in New York.
Or just go to New York in Las Vegas, and you'll be basically there. They got the Brooklyn Bridge and the Statue of Liberty. It's all close together. You don't even have to get on a subway.
Las Vegas is the most inauthentic place that I've ever been in my life. It is very draining. Everywhere you turn, there's something trying to grab your money and get very little in return out of it. So,
well, they don't even have an NBA team, so obviously this is probably based on the Golden Knights.
And I imagine the Golden Knights are a lot of fun, and then, yeah, Vegas itself is fun, but New York, you can never run out of things to do. I want to say there's some ridiculous thing where it would take you like 5 years to try every single restaurant if you got to try 3 restaurants in a day in New York. It's a monster of a city, and it's one of the few places I would be good moving to despite the cold. I probably
as long as the
wouldn't-
paycheck was good and you could live there comfortably.
Yeah, the paycheck would need to be great.
Yeah.
And I've learned that having a washer and dryer in New York City is like a status symbol. And I very much appreciate being able to do my own laundry in the comfort of my apartment.
It's nice.
I very much need it as someone who's not very well organized in that aspect of my life. But Orlando and Vegas being 1 and 2, San Antonio being on the top 10 makes sense. But I'm not necessarily sure the criteria is met there in Orlando. I haven't been to Orlando.
I think it's because
as an adult.
I think it's because of Disneyland, honestly.
Yeah, but you're not going to see the Orlando Magic and then you're going to hop over to Epcot.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't been there in years, but
yeah.
Going down the list further, number 4, another Texas city, Houston, Texas ranks out number 4. Number 5 is Miami, followed up at number 6 by San Francisco, California, and then of course San Antonio's number 7, and then 8, 9, 10, Los Angeles, Phoenix, and another Texas city, Dallas. So Texas representing 3 times on the top 10 list here.
I will say that Los Angeles is overrated. If you're living out in the West Coast side of things, the west side of LA, where you're near the beach, that's a fun area. I would enjoy that side of LA. Outside of LA Live, if you just take a block down outside of LA Live in any direction, and downtown LA, it very much needs LA Live. I'll put it that way. It doesn't have much of a typical LA, what you would think lifestyle, but West Coast LA is fun if you ever get a chance to experience that.
I do like Venice. Venice Beach is a nice time.
Venice, Santa Monica, Del Rey, that whole area.
Marina Del Rey, yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
What is it called? There's a beach over there. It's not Lincoln Beach, is it?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
That one.
El Segundo. There's a lot of nice places on the west side
That's
of
where
LA.
I left my wallet.
Oh, in El Segundo?
Yeah, I lost my wallet there.
But then when you talk about the monster that is Los Angeles, once you start to get into the concrete jungle, it gets a lot hotter. You get a lot more toxic fumes that
The
are just
closer
kind of
you
trapped.
get to the mountains, that's when it gets they get the heat. You got to be closer to the beach.
I have no interest in ever going back to Pasadena in the Los Angeles area unless it is for a game at the Rose Bowl, if I'm not mistaken, is in Pasadena. So that's something to keep an eye on as I do want to start to bounce around a little bit and experiment some of these places and what they have to offer on top of their sporting events. And I appreciate that segment there by ULG. I guess out of all of this, we're going to have to check out Orlando. That's what I've come away with out of this segment. We
I've
will
been
need
there.
to check out Orlando.
There's a lot of like convention centers and stuff there, but besides Disney. So,
Yeah, well,
it's real humid though.
Yeah, I'd have to figure it out. Not much of a, I'm a little surprised Orlando beat out Miami, and Miami's on that list. But San Antonio being on that list, not necessarily
Got the
anything.
Riverwalk.
Yeah, not necessarily anything right outside of the Frost Bank Center, but there is plenty to do on the Riverwalk. Nobody ever gave me any Cinco de Mayo things to do, did they?
Not in our chat. No, maybe on Twitter.
I'm going to have to be a good talk show host and do my homework for tomorrow to see what the Spurs can do in their adjustments for Game 2. That'll be an 8:30 tip-off tomorrow night. We'll talk about it on the starting lineup. We'll go over the rest of the action in the NBA playoffs. We will talk the results of that UTSA Texas baseball game. That and a lot more when the starting lineup resumes 6 a.m. tomorrow. Dan Patrick next on Ticket 760. We appreciate y'all however you joined us. So give us a follow on social media, subscribe to us, and hit that bell notification on YouTube. And be sure to keep it tuned in to Ticket 760 for all of your sports talk here in San Antonio. Have a good rest of your Tuesday, everyone.
This is San Antonio FC Insider, brought to you by Toyota.
Get a taste of the World Cup in San Antonio as Toyota Field is set to host an international friendly between Saudi Arabia and Senegal's men's national teams on June 9th at 6 p.m. This marks Toyota Field's third ever international friendly.